I just realized that since I do my videos primarily during my lunch break, that my work clothes are in my videos. So I'm not, y'all gonna see the same patterns in different videos. I don't consecutively wear clothes, and I don't wear the same clothes every week, but I probably realize that this is a very unique pattern. It's a dress. That I probably got a video wearing this outfit, but whatever, I'm not here to impress y'all. I forgot my earrings. I gave my ears a break because I primarily wear gold earrings, so I sleep in them, and they've been hurting. So I'm gonna give my little holes a break. These are old holes. Got these holes as a baby. I do have a second set that are probably closed up. I got in high school. I don't use that shit. Okay. So this weekend, I made a impromptu last second trip to Washington, D.C. And one of my fondest childhood memories is my mom and I doing an impromptu trip to Washington, D.C. She pretty much said, it was over the weekend, she pretty much said, throw some stuff in a bag, let's go. And we took the train to Washington, D.C. We didn't have no hotel rooms, nothing. We got there, and I'm saying we because I was there, but 100% of the credit and the ingenuity goes to my mother. It was so exciting just to live in the unknown. My mother usually has control over everything, and everything is planned out meticulously down to a T. And this time, nothing was planned. Everything was on a whim. We took the train to Washington, D.C. We didn't have a hotel room. She found a listing of hotel rooms, or she talked to a worker there, and there was a shuttle that did shuttle rides from the train station to the hotel, and we stayed there, and we took public transportation into DC. And I just remember us crossing a highway to go get Chinese food and crossing back. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. So I tried to do that with my kids. Granted, I did that with my husband. We did something like that. We jumped on a train and went to DC, and it was just easy for us to do it. And it was fun. This was before the kids. I think even before we were married. But with two small children, I got two, they're 4 years old. I had to do some kind of planning. Just taking them and jumping on a train, it wasn't conducive to a 4-year-old. I think I was in double digits when my mother took me, maybe 10, right? So Friday, I found a hotel room. Now with COVID, you have to have advance tickets to these museums, even though they're free and they're timed entry, which I enjoy, because when me and my husband went more than a couple years ago, there were long lines to get into these museums, really long lines. But now with the tickets, you get the tickets and you have a time slot entry. They don't kick you out, but it was nice not having to wait in line. And we did take the kids to DC when they were 2. Because I think the African American Museum had just opened up, and it was a government shutdown. So it was closed. So we had to do privately funded museums, which was nice. We found a children's museum. They got to do some activities, but we didn't get to go because it was during a government shutdown. So this time I got the tickets. So anyway, we go. I find a hotel room. We're driving. My husband has a Saturday meeting. I hook up the laptop to my phone, and he does his meeting while we're driving. It was very nice. My kids did very well. They told us when they had to pee. They had dry pull-ups when we got there. We stopped twice. They were amazing. They kept themselves entertained with their little writing tablets and stuff. It was cool. It was really cool. So Saturday when we got there, we went to we got there early. The hotel wouldn't let us check in without paying an extra $25. And I only paid $75 for the room. I wasn't spending $25 to check in 4 or 5 hours early. That was a no. And so we drove into DC. We found parking, and the Of course, the kids had to pee, so we ended up at the Lincoln Memorial to go pee, and then we went to the Lincoln Memorial, and Saturday was brutally cold. So the kids ran around for a few, and it was just too cold for us to hang out. And we had Chipotle and went to the hotel room, and that's pretty much where we stayed the rest of the night. And then Sunday is when we did the bulk of our stuff. So we went to the African American Museum, and it was very intense for me. I started at the lower floor, and I did the history, and I couldn't do anything else. I was emotionally drained and just emotional. I wasn't angry because you know about slavery and stuff. I wasn't angry and I wasn't sad because I know the history. I know the history of our people in this country. I know it just took a lot. And I don't know how to explain it, but it took a lot out of me. And also I had my children there. So they label certain exhibits with these red markers to let you know that it's intense and everything. And my kids were not old enough really to know what's going on. And it's a lot of reading because you see these exhibits and you want to read about it. So it's a lot of reading, and they were getting a little antsy. So I couldn't really devote the time and attention that I wanted to. Plus, I wanted to be respectful. There's an Emmett Till exhibit that I didn't want to take my kids into because, you're supposed to be quiet and respectful. And my kids were like, can we go? Rightfully so. They're used to the Children's Museum where you could just touch everything. And the whole time we're like, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. So me and my husband did realize that this is something that we have to do. We definitely have to come back and but we have to come back and not come with the kids. I don't want to wait till they get older. I do want to go back. There are other floors I didn't go to, other exhibits I didn't go to. We didn't get to go to the cafe because the lines was long. I just think it's something me and him need to do alone. And maybe we'll get Mima to watch them and we'll take another trip there. Just the two of us. Good date. But anyway, I highly recommend it from the little bit that I saw. It looks rich. I like it. I think all the time when it comes to focus on African American stuff, it tends to look cheap and quickly done. This was the total opposite. This looked like money. Okay? Like the exhibits were beautifully done. The writing was in bronze or whatever metal it was. It wasn't plastic. Nothing was typed over. It looked like money. And I have to say there was a lot of not us's in there. There was a lot of non-melanated people in there. And there were also a lot of non-American whites in there too. And I'm not saying that the blacks didn't go there. This has been open for a while. I could imagine if you lived in the area already, you already went. You know what I'm saying? But I like to see that there were a lot of non-white Americans in there and very interested in the history. Now, whether they were interested in the history to go like America ain't shit, whatever, it's real. It's real. Our foundations in this country are not one of pride and something to be proud of. And the museum from the quick, it wasn't quick. I spent like an hour just in that one exhibit in the lower floors. Did give credit to the fact that America wouldn't be America without the slaves. And even some quotes from some presidents and some government officials back then acknowledging like we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for slaves, our children's children, and the wealth that we were able to pass on is because of the backs of slaves. So anyway, I wish I would have stayed more. I'm going to go back. I'm definitely going to go back, and I'm probably going to go back very shortly. Depends on when my mother could watch them overnight. I definitely need to go back. It was funny that my biracial children are screaming, can we get out of here? Can we get out of here? Just making us look bad. I'm already light, just making a black girl look bad with her biracial loud kids. Talk about let's get out of here. But anyway, that was my trip to DC. And I bring that up to say that while I was there was a very big police presence that did not seem alarming, but it was noticed. And it wasn't until I spoke to my mother that there was this whole Chinese balloon situation going on, and I was in DC. Saturday was a bit intense. Not intense, but there was a significant police presence around. On the corners, cars were parked, police cars were parked, stuff like that. And by Sunday, it was a ghost town. All of them were gone. So I'm guessing it was shot down on Saturday. And when I did my research today, I saw that the balloon was shot down on Saturday, right? So I'm going to talk about the Chinese weather balloon, the meteorological balloon, because that's what China said it is. So the Chinese meteorology weather balloon, right? So quick research, I like to start with some research so y'all know what I'm talking about. So this past Saturday, February 4th, 2023, U.S. fighter jet shot down off the coast of South Carolina this Chinese weather balloon, right? Chinese are calling it a weather balloon. I'm going to call it a weather balloon because we don't know what it was. The American government doesn't know what it was. And if you look at the thumbnail, when they shot it down, there was a puff of smoke. So I watched some videos and you can hear the people applauding and woo when it shot down, and there was a puff of smoke. And I noticed that puff of smoke. Okay. Now I've played with many a balloon. Okay. And I have inhaled the helium from a balloon so I could talk funny, have a good old time. Don't do too much of it because you can get high. Right? Anybody seen Little Shop of Horrors? Right? So, I noticed the puff of smoke. And it triggered the conspiracy theorist in me. But I'll come back to that. So, the balloon became the topic of public fascination because it kept floating over and around nuclear silos near Kansas City. The USA is now trying to recover the balloon that they shot down, which landed in the water, because they want to reverse engineer what is going on and see what it actually is. But they can't find it, right? Or they're still looking for it. It's the ocean. Ocean is very deep. Fun fact, I think it's 80% or 90% of the oceans we have not explored because it's too deep and because of pressure. So I think that shit is gone. In one of the articles, it said the spectacle speaks to how little DC and Beijing communicate after they vowed to improve crisis management after the collision of the American spy plane and the Chinese fighter pilot, which happened 70 miles off the coast of the Hainan Islands. I'm probably not saying that right. And this happened sometime 20 years ago. So what's 20 years ago? Early 2000s. Currently, the U.S. government has admitted they don't know what the balloon is, but it is a violation of the sovereignty agreement that we have with China. Probably is because they have shit in our airspace. And another balloon currently has been spotted in South America, and the American government has what's the word? There have been other balloons in the past. This is not the first one that don't make the news. Let's just say that. America, another topic. China is not the only one that has a history of spying. America, we spy too. If you go into DC, there's a whole museum of the spy museum. I couldn't get tickets to that because that shit was sold out. I want to go there. Okay, America, we spies. Okay, we spy. And I'm all for it. Okay. Back in 1950s, President Eisenhower put cameras on balloons against Russia. I think that was Russia at the time, or the USSR. Anyway, that country. And they put it under the guise of a weather balloon, meteorological balloon too. So is that China using our own shit against us, saying that it was a weather balloon and we did the same shit back in the 50s? And the reason why we don't use balloons anymore, please don't think we stopped spying. We don't use balloons anymore because they're obsolete. That's old school. We got satellites now. Okay, we got satellites and we got drones. So using a balloon is kind of like the old school way. And that also triggered my conspiracy interest in me, conspiracy spirit that I have in me. This comes at a time when Democrats and Republicans are really going at it on who could come down on China hardest. This was a quote. This shooting it down is sort of tackling the quarterback after the game is over. Michael R. Turner, he's a Republican in Iowa. The balloon should have never entered our airspace. So basically, we shouldn't have even had to shoot it down over water. It should never came here. It should have got shot down before it came into U.S. airspace. The balloon drifted over the continental U.S. Now, if you know what the continental U.S. is, it's all of the states that are together. As you know, Alaska is not attached to the continental 48, and neither is Hawaii. Please don't let people tell you that there are 52 states. There are not. Okay? I have had arguments down to the ground recently with the invention of Google. Don't know why I've had this argument. And is it really an argument? Just very aggressive back and forth with somebody telling me that there's 52 states. And screaming that I'm forgetting Alaska and Hawaii. The continental U.S. is 48 states. Okay, here's your history lesson from a public school graduate. And Alaska and Hawaii are included in the 50. So 48 are touching and 2 are not. So anyway, the balloon drifted over the continental 48, right? And a high-ranking official U.S. diplomat, Anthony Blinken, was supposed to make his first trip to Beijing, right? Probably PR relations or some shit. He done canceled that trip, okay? He ain't going. He ain't going now. China has come out and say that this is a weather balloon that accidentally drifted into U.S. airspace, and it's nothing else than a weather balloon, and they are pissed. They're pissed. They've said something like, oh, okay, this is how we're going to react now. Now, the U.S. did this. Oh, okay, they made the blueprint, and this is how we're going to treat shit from now on. Okay, now, I told you guys that my conspiracy theory spirit has been activated. I will do what consumes me right now are mermaids, but I'll get back to that. But right now, I was been triggered like, like when I saw this. If you ever seen the Raven show, when she would get a premonition, she'd go like this. That's what happened. Okay, when I saw that puff of smoke in that little video. Now, if I was the leader of China, and I wanted to really fuck with the U.S., it wouldn't be war. It wouldn't be physical aggression. It wouldn't be a sword contest, because that's all I talk about. It's just a dicks and a sword contest. I would send a motherfucking balloon. I would send an old, antiquated, old technology balloon. And it would be chemical warfare, because we all know Carisha 19 did not work. Okay? You can't say that on the YouTube. So the CeeLo 19 did not work. As Trump called it, the China virus, right? The China virus didn't decimate us the way that it was planned. This is my opinion, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. All right, this is just me and my brain. I have no facts. Okay, my first part of my video was talking about the balloon, was research. This is all me. Okay, no facts, nothing is proven. This is what I think, and this is what I would do if I was China. Okay, I would send a motherfucking balloon, and I would hope that they shoot it over water and not over land, because I don't want them to get it. And contrary to popular belief, America has a very, very dependent economic dependency on fishing and seafood and crabbing and salmon-y stuff. We still get a lot of our food source from the water. So that shit can really do some long-term effects on Americans if whatever I had in that motherfucking balloon ended up in the water. Now it went over the ocean or the sea or whatever. So it might not be our drinking source of water, but it definitely could be our food source of water, and other shit starts to happen. Mutations, shit like that, right? I would really put the U.S. into a frenzy by sending a balloon. Now, Chinese government says it's a weather balloon. we also said it was a weather balloon back in the 50s. That's what I'm going to say about that. And ours was spy balloons. Satellites can be hacked. Images can be deleted. But the balloon coming into airspace, staying as long as it did, God knows what kind of fucking stuff was deployed or pictures were taken or what have you. That's old school technology. That's like when all of these Kias and Hyundais are getting broken into and stolen because of some TikTok social media video. All you need is a USB and you could steal it. One of the deterrents that seems to be working is using an old school club, because the people that are stealing these cars are not car thieves. They're copycats. And that's the only thing they know how to do. They don't know how to take off a club. That wasn't in the video. There are probably ways to take off a club, but you probably need to know that and be good at it. So if you see a car that you could do this TikTok challenge, or you see two cars, one has a club, one doesn't, what's the one you're going to go to? The one that doesn't. So the club has become a deterrent, and the club is old school. Old school. So I say that to say, like, the old school shit is coming back. You know, there's a lot of people that want to go back to a flip phone because they don't like all of the permissions and access to their lives that these apps and these companies have. They want to go to a flip phone. I have a coworker right now. Our job phones are under Verizon. We had a lot of flip phones, and Verizon was telling us, well, they did got rid of their 3G service. And then the flip phones wouldn't work. And we had a couple of coworkers that said, I will not use a smartphone. And, you know, look, lo and behold, they do make 4G flip phones, but they wanted flip phones. You know, and a part of me understands that. Like, they have smartphones for their own personal, but they didn't want to walk around with a smartphone, job phone, listening to you. I got this Bixby assistant that is constant. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't activate you. Why are you talking? Or if you have Amazon, your Alexa and your Google's like, I didn't get that. Would you like me to put this on your shopping list? They be listening all the time. Big Brother is listening, okay, and watching. So I just go to say that you know, this Chinese spy balloon situation. I was in Washington, D.C. But I have to say, when I went with my mother, Washington, D.C. was the ghetto. Okay? And I driving by a little bit, and it was still a little bit ghetto. And you could still see the poverty, but they did fix it up. It's very nice. And if you're a walker or a runner, it's very nice to go there and get your exercise. It was very nice. Like I said, and I will go back. It was good to see my federal tax dollars at work. All right, everybody. Till next time.